What's up, nerds and nerdettes and green little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big John the G from Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming! Alright, my friends, it's good to see everyone again. Happy Monday if you're watching this on the day I'm dropping it and filming it, which is today, Monday. So, things are going to change here. Little change. There's going to be a little change. I ain't talking nickels and dimes here, my friends. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a change. See, for the past, I want to say for the past 10 years now, Two Gun Pixie has been going to New York City Comic Con. We've been going there since it had another name, like New York City Comic Book and Anime Expo or something like that. And we've been going since then. But, you know, not going this year. Not going this year by our choice. My choice. I don't know what to tell you, my friends. Now, as you know, I love comic books. I grew up with comic books. I was a huge fan of the Defenders long before I was a fan of the Avengers. Especially the classic team, you know, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Silver Surfer, Submariner, Valkyrie. Oh, wow, what a great team. Even Spider-Man joined them for a little while. I love comic books. To me, comic books they're modern day mythology in every way. You know, our ancestors were telling stories of Perseus or Lou of the Long Hand, while today we're telling stories of Batman and Spider-Man. It's really no different. These tales of superhuman abilities, of mortals wanting to be more than mortals, wanting to be better than mortals. Classic stories, I love them. But not anymore. To tell you the truth, I haven't loved comic books in a long time. I love what comic books stand for. I love what comic books mean. I love the core, the seed of where most of these comics started from. I don't like where they are anymore. I stopped officially collecting comic books some time ago. It was the Fear Itself storyline running through Marvel. So, you know, I went through the whole Avengers Disassembled, House of M, Avengers Initiative storyline, and it just seems that Marvel and DC just keep ramping everything up so much bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it almost feels like every single storyline is about protecting reality, about protecting the continuity, the omniverse itself. It gets a little tiring. You know, it's at the point now where it definitely feels like that whole concept has just caused the comic book industry to jump the shark. If you don't know what that phrase means, watch Happy Days. But it's more than just the comic book scene itself. I mean, the movies I enjoy. I enjoy the take that they're giving on the Marvel movies. The DC movies, not so much. But I like the direction it's going in. And I think to me the difference is it's not the same. To me, the movies are like a parallel universe, an alternate reality. It's not the main continuity of the comic books. To me, in my way of thinking, as far as Marvel goes anyway, everything is Earth 616 to me still. And that's the way it's always going to be. And everything else is not real Marvel. But the other reasons are it's gotten way too big. New York City Comic Con is freaking huge. I mean, it's too big for the Javits. It's been too big for the Javits for at least the last 3-4 years. But where the heck else are we going to put it in New York City? The Javits is like the biggest, most central place we have to put it. And we want to keep it in Manhattan because Manhattan is the center of the 5 boroughs. It just makes traveling easier. It's just way too big. The crowds there are insane. And it's not just the mass of the flesh on flesh that you're feeling every day. And Sundays are the worst. But it seems that as the days go by, politeness gets thrown out the window. You know, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", 300 pounds. I'm well aware of my size. I'm also well aware that if I'm not extremely polite, people can misconstrue that I'm just being a big pushy bully. So I'm the kind of person that I always make sure that, I say things like please and excuse me. And in crowds like Comic-Con, it just gets worse and worse and worse to the point where, you say excuse me 3-4 times in a row, and they'll even look you right in the eye. They'll turn around and look you right in the eye and not move. So at that point, I just start pushing people. At that point, it's like, I'll be nice to you 2 or 3 times, but if you're going to ignore me, especially look me right in the eyes and ignore me like I don't even exist, I'm walking over you because I'm big enough to do it. Which is why I ask nicely. Which is why I always ask nicely first. The crowds are insane. I just can't stand them, and Sunday's the worst. I've avoided New York City Comic-Con on Sunday just about every year that I've gone. I think the first 2 years that I went. Now I'm talking about Javits Center. I mean, I've been going to Starlog conventions and science fiction and Star Trek conventions at Penn Plaza since I was a little kid. But the Javits Center is just insane. Absolutely insane. I can't take it anymore. I try to be nice. When I can't be nice and it doesn't work, then I come off as the bad guy. And I never like coming off as the bad guy. That's not who I am. Now, there is an old rumor. You'd almost say it's a stereotype or an old maid's tale even about comic book convention fans smelling. Here's my take on that. I think over the years people have gotten a lot better with hygiene. Yes, I do. And you could tell that. You could tell that physically. You can see that people aren't dirty. My big problem is it seems like, I'm not saying this is an absolute fact, I'm not pointing fingers if you're one of these individuals, but it seems, from my point of view, being forced around all this, especially on the Sundays, Saturdays not so bad, Sundays even worse, I think not enough people wash their cosplay costumes. Especially the individuals that aren't from New York and they have hotel rooms, they might not have easy access to washing, especially with the daily schedules that they're keeping. That's not an excuse, but I'm saying I understand how it can happen. So that's why you even have, when you have that happen, you have people that do, they clean themselves, but their costumes stink like heck. Oh. And I think the last thing I'm going to say about this is, although I love my nerd life, and I love old comic books, I love science fiction, I love fantasy, I love horror, and this is all represented at New York Comic Con. There's not enough of it represented there to catch my attention. The amount of price I'm paying for a ticket, plus I know I'm going to need, I know me. It's one of the things my father, taught me was know thyself, and to thine own self be true. And I know myself, and I'm walking around a convention hall, a gaming convention hall, a comic book, a nerd convention hall, a sci-fi convention hall. I know I'm going to need about $100 a day. And if I'm going to New York City Comic Con, if I'm going for 3 out of those 4 days, that's $300. $300 for what? For what? It doesn't even impress me anymore. I end up spending most of that money on board game dealers that, in all reality, I could be getting the same price, or maybe just a little bit better if I was ordering online through Amazon, or if I went down to my friendly local gaming store, The Complete Strategist. So why am I, and you know what, I buy stuff at The Complete Strategist at their stand at Comic-Con. Why? Well, I want to support them, obviously, but I live in Manhattan. They're like a 20-minute train ride from me. It doesn't make sense. So after a 10-year streak run, now there's a few years in between I didn't go to Starlog, Sci-Fi, Star Trek conventions, but as far as this 10-year run of going to the Javits Center for comic book conventions, my friends, Two Gun Pixie's done. There's not enough there to interest me. The crowds are getting too big. Because of their size, I mean, they're not getting more impolite. Humans are impolite to begin with. But when you get more and more and more and larger and larger and larger groups together, it really blows up. The amount of time, the amount of money, the people, the lack of real interest to me. These are all factors. So after a 10-year run, Two Gun Pixie, I think we're done with New York City Comic Con. We're not going this year. It was not a decision that was too hard to make. So what am I going to do? I was going to New York City Comic Con because I live in Manhattan. It's right here. It's easy. I don't got to travel. I don't have to worry about traveling. I don't have to worry about getting a room. I don't have to worry about lugging my stuff back, especially if I'm taking a plane. Now, how much more suitcase space am I going to have to use with all these other things and games and everything I bought now? No, that's not happening. But there's a thought me and Tommy V are having that maybe next year, might be able to make the trip up to Massachusetts for PAX East. So, fingers, toes, and tails crossed, my friends. Alright, I'm your buddy Big Johnny G. Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and this was our discussion on New York City Comic Con and why we are not going this year. Thank you everyone for following us on Facebook and on Twitter, and of course, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing to us here on YouTube, for sharing our videos, for liking, and for commenting. It means the world. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G. As I said, for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and our friends, I am out of here.